and the dead man, and it was great. And then he worked the match with his movesets and his speed the same way, a great hybrid. Kane and Undertaker have never had great matches, but it was a great story to kill off the American Badass. It was a great story to get the dead man back, and they did what they were supposed to do in the match to get through it and to carry the Undertaker on from this point on as the return of his old character. So, I rated it a 3 back then. When I look back now, the match was a little bit less than I remember, so I actually downgraded it to 2.5. But it is what it is, and those two have never had 5-star matches. But great story, excellent story, and I'll never forget that night with the Undertaker returning in that sense. Just amazing entrance. And little did I know it would just be the beginning of some of the most amazing entrances I'd ever be there live for. Now, it's the final match of the night, the main event. Chris Benoit, World Champion Triple H, Shawn Michaels. So much great story going into this match. Chris Benoit winning the Royal Rumble. First time a man won the Royal Rumble and then jumped shows. He went from SmackDown to Raw to challenge Triple H. Triple H in the middle of the feud with Shawn Michaels. You got this 3-way dance now, and it does become a triple threat. And I remember thinking, I think this may be a bad idea, a triple threat. Triple threats up to that point were always, a little awkward. It's always weird having 3 wheels, right? So I wasn't sure how it was going to work. But let me tell you, still to this day, if you've never seen this match, watch it. This is the greatest triple threat in not WrestleMania history, but all of WWE history. This is the template for every good triple threat match that follows it. It was the perfect balance between 3 men. Never an awkward moment of too much of one and not enough of this. It was literally 3 guys going at each other with a goal in mind. And it was done beautifully. And that crowd wanted Chris Benoit to win that belt so bad. All the work he had put into it, everything he had given to this business, to him finally to get it, especially from a guy like Triple H, the crowd was just wanting it and wanting it. And even though Shawn was a huge fan favorite, the fan base was like 90% Chris Benoit. They wanted this so bad. And the way they told this story, the way they finished it, for the first time in WrestleMania history, the championship changed hands because of a submission, because of a tap out. And it wasn't the typical throw the submission on and then, 5 seconds later there's a tap out. They pulled that emotion from you. They made you hold it and hold it. Triple H getting close to tapping it close to the rope, and then they do the rollover, and still they wouldn't give it to you. And they just drew that emotion out of you. You just knew it had to happen, but it was a triple threat. You're still waiting for Shawn to jump in there and stop it. And then finally, the hand hits and starts to tap. And that crowd, if you watch it, it's one of those moments where the camera starts to shake a bit. That crowd was wanting it. They needed it. I remember being so happy for Chris Benoit. It was interesting being there live. I was just extremely happy for him. It wasn't until I watched it later when it came out on DVD, and now you see the pure emotion in him. And of course, what better way to close it out than his best friend coming to the ring? And not till just recently did I find out Chris didn't know Eddie was going to the ring. So when he turned around and there's Eddie, that was a real moment. And for those two to be able to have this moment, for us to share them with that moment, I don't think WrestleMania has ever closed out with something that meaningful before. It was definitely the sign that things have changed. This is no longer, WWE has always been Vince McMahon's World of Giants, who had to be a big muscle head to be on top. And this was the proof that that's no longer the case. It's no longer about size, but purely about talent. And to have these two leading the charge for Raw and SmackDown, it just doesn't get any better than that. You can't close out the show any better than that. I'll always remember, too, when the cameras went off, Chris celebrating with his family. And it's always been a hard subject with me. But I don't believe that a good person can become evil overnight. I believe that good people can do horrific things. Good people can do bad things. And it doesn't define your lifetime of what you've done. It doesn't erase all the things that you've done. And so when I look back now, and that's why it was always hard to look back at this match and watch it again, or the event itself, I remember Chris for what he was, not what he had become in those final hours of his life. He's a man that I got the opportunity to meet. 2 years later, which I'll do in my WrestleMania 22 show. But to be there for it, to look back at it and know what it meant, pretty damn special. And couldn't ask for a better ending to my first WrestleMania. When I score WrestleManias, I score them off of the location chosen, the theme used and how they used it along with the location, the overall card, the execution of the card, and the closing of the show. And so I rated the location as a 5. You're just not going to get better than Madison Square Garden. You're just not. When you walk those halls, there is something that overcomes you, and you know you are somewhere sacred. The theme, where it all begins again, I mean, it's just perfect. Perfect tie-in to what they were doing. The card, I rated a 3. They put some heavy focus on their title matches and a couple other matches, and everything else was just thrown out there to get as many faces on the card. So I gave it a 3. Execution, I gave it a 3.5, because for what they had, those guys worked pretty good. They worked hard, especially those that were just thrown out there just for names to be on the card. So excellent. And then the closing. The closing, I rated it a 5. It was an amazing closing. So the overall was a 4.1. So overall, it was a good show. It was a solid show. It's not a show I can sit down and watch from beginning to end over and over. I probably do it every once 10 years. It's been a long time since I did it last time. But the 2 championship matches, I can watch those all day long, over and over. That is how it's done. I don't buy too many memorabilia afterwards, but I did buy this right here, this piece of the ring mat. As you can see, there's only 250 of these made. This is the ring mat that they wrestled on that night. And it's got Chris Benoit's autograph. Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20, World Champion. They were selling this and an Eddie Guerrero one. My only regret is I didn't buy the Eddie Guerrero one too. But I've always held on to this. It's always meant so much to me, this night, this moment, and to have a piece of the ring mat and this. This is one of the things that I have that I treasure beyond the money I ever spent on it. And of course, actually, I didn't buy this jersey when I first bought my stuff, but when I was leaving the show, I was so excited and so pumped, and I still had cash I hadn't spent yet. I was like, I'll buy myself a jersey. So this was the first WrestleMania jersey I ever bought, and this is quality compared to some of the jerseys they sell now. And what they don't even do now is, like, Madison Square Garden, right there. They don't put the arena or the stadium names on the jerseys anymore, which kind of sucks, because I think that really brings out the exclusiveness of it. And then, of course, I found the old WrestleMania 20 shirt, which was really cool. And then on the back, it's got the logos from all 20 WrestleManias. And some of my friends, Alex, probably have this shirt somewhere, tucked away somewhere, that I bought, because I bought a lot of them, because it was back when merchandise was really affordable. So, there it is. This is the closing to my first show. I don't know how long other shows will be, or short they'll be. This one was long. It was a big pay-per-view, 20th anniversary. I took a trip to New York, so I expected it to be kind of a longer show. Hope you enjoyed some of the insight. Please give me some comments and feedback to what you think I can do, improve, or what you'd like to see. Next week's show, I'm going to go over WrestleMania 13's match between Bret Hart and Steve Austin. So there's some stuff that I think that you should watch before you rewatch that match, because I'm highly going to push that you rewatch that match before you watch the show for next week. So I will put that information on the Facebook group page, which I am creating. And so this way you can watch, it's probably about 3 hours worth of matches. And I'm telling you, you'll watch that match in a way you haven't watched it for, maybe ever, or in a long time. So until then, thank you very much. So keep sitting your ass with the brass, and I will catch you next week.